Shalom, all praise to Yahweh Shemel Shah, double honor to Apostle GMS. This is Noah Allah coming at you with the video. In this video, I'm going to do a video in the book of 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 8. And it says, remember, well, really on verse 9. I'll start from verse 7. 2 Timothy 2 and 7. It says, consider what I say, and the Lord give the understanding in all things. Remember that Yahweh Shah, the anointed of the seed of David, was raised from the dead according to my gospel. So according to the gospel that the Apostle Paul preached, he spoke that Yahweh Shah was raised from the dead, which is true. He was raised from the dead. Wherefore I suffer trouble as an evildoer, even unto bonds. That is true. That's true as well. The Apostle Paul suffered trouble as an evildoer, even unto his bonds. Because many people were against the Apostle Paul and what it was that he taught. You had Jews that were up against him for what it was that he taught, because you had Jews that sought righteousness through the law, who was offended at what he spoke of Yahweh Shah. Also, you had the Apostle Paul, who, when he had went to the Gentiles, which are Israelite foreigners, you had the Jews that were didn't like that as well, because you had the Gentiles, which are Israelite foreigners, who were keeping the customs, practices, and traditions of the other nations, and they looked at their Israelite brethren who were keeping them customs, who were being called Gentiles, as heathens. Were they actual heathens? Were they actually people of other nations? No. They were Israelite, but they were just keeping the customs, philosophies, and practices of the other nations. So they looked at them. So they looked at them as outcasts. Okay? You can read about that in Acts 13th chapter. Wherefore I suffer trouble as an evildoer, even unto bonds. And also the Apostle Paul teaching those things stirred up riots. And the Apostle Paul was eventually put in the bonds, put in the prison. He was bound, chained. But the word of the Most High is not bound. So though the Apostle Paul was physically bound, though the Apostle Paul was bound, the word was not bound. So the word is not bound. The word is not chained. The word remains unchained. In other words, this word cannot be constricted. It cannot be restricted. It cannot be confined. Okay? It cannot be confined. That's why no matter how much Esau tries, he can't get rid of the scriptures. The scriptures are not meant to be confined. They're not meant to be restricted. The word of the Most High, Yahweh Shemel Shah, the Bible, is meant to spread throughout the four corners of the earth. Okay? So the word is not bound. The word of the Most High is not bound. You can't bound the Bible. Look at the next scripture. 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 7. It says, now I pray to the Most High that ye do no evil. Not that we should appear approved, but that ye should do that which is honest, though we be as reprobates. So we can do nothing, so we got to do what's honest. We can't be reprobates in this thing. We can't have a mind before the judgment. But we can do nothing against the truth, but for the truth. Okay? So we're not doing anything against the truth, only for the truth. In other words, it's about progression, not regression. Okay? And on top of that, even if you didn't believe in the truth, does it make it not the truth because you don't believe? Of course not. It's still the truth, you just don't have any faith. So there's nothing can be done to stop this truth. Okay, you can't do anything against the truth, only for the truth. We were not meant to conduct ourselves in a manner that's against the truth, but only for the truth. So we got to do what's according to the scriptures. Let's go to the next scripture. This is Ecclesiastes 7:12. It says, for wisdom is defense, and money is defense. So both wisdom and money are defenses. They both can defend you. They both can protect you. They're both profitable. But the excellency of knowledge is, this is the excellency of knowledge. This is the excellency of knowledge or wisdom above money. Here's what it profits. Let's go to that word excellency. The word there is Yathrawan. Yatharawana. Yathrawan. And it says advantage, profit, excellency. So wisdom is a defense, money is a defense, but the excellency or the profit or the advantage of knowledge or the advantage of wisdom is that wisdom giveth life to them that have it. That's the difference between money and wisdom. Money can't give you life, but wisdom can. Because wisdom is profitable for instruction. Wisdom is profitable for instruction to direct you into the righteous path, which can lead into life or everlasting life. Let's get a scripture on that. Ecclesiastes chapter 10 verse 10. If the iron be blunt, meaning it's not sharp. So if you got an iron, then the iron is blunt, meaning the iron isn't sharp. And he do not wet the edge, wet, W-H-E-T, meaning sharpen. So if the iron is blunt, meaning the iron isn't sharp, and you don't wet the edge, you don't sharpen the edge, then must he put to more strength. So if you have a dull blade, a blade that's dull, that's not sharpened, guess what? It can't easily cut through whatever substance you try to cut through. Therefore, you have to put forth more strength to cut. It's like you can't just cut a piece of steak with a butter knife because a butter knife is dull. But you can cut a piece of steak with a steak knife because it's a lot sharper. The iron is wet, the iron is sharper. So you don't got to put forth that much strength. But wisdom is profitable to direct. But wisdom is profitable to direct you into that. It's profitable to direct you into the proper course of action to sharpen that blade. To sharpen that blade that's dull. So you take that blade, you put it up against a stone or whatever other object you're going to put it up against, and you sharpen it. You no longer make it dull, you begin to make it sharp. So that's using wisdom. How do you think tools are made? Tools are made because of a person with knowledge, a person with intellect, a person with a degree of knowledge and intellect to make a tool, to understand that this tool is necessary for their survival. So that takes wisdom. Okay? Go to the next scripture. Now this right here is the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 4, verse 38. It is basically a contest between Zerubbabel and two other men who went to declare before a king which was strongest out of wine, kings, or women. And Zerubbabel, one man said the king is strongest, one man said wine is strongest, and Zerubbabel said women are strongest, but wisdom is greater than all. Wisdom has victory over all. And let's see what Zerubbabel said about wisdom, about the knowledge. This is 2nd Esdras 4 and 38. As for truth, it endureth and is always strong. This is why the truth can't be bound, it's always strong. The word of Most High can't be bound, it's always strong. It liveth and conquereth forevermore. With her is comparing truth to a woman, because truth has a nurturing spirit, like a woman's supposed to have a nurturing spirit. With her, there is no escape accepting a person's or rewards, no favoritism, no accepting somebody based upon their rank or prestige. But she doeth in this world, but fairness. But she doeth the things that are just, and refraineth from all unjust and wicked things. And all men do well like of her works. Neither in her judgment is any unrighteousness, and she is the strength, kingdom, power, and majesty of all ages. Blessed be the Most High of truth. And with that he held his peace, and all the people then shouted and said, Great is truth, and mighty above all things. Then said the king unto him, Ask what thou wilt more than is appointed in the writing, and he will give it thee, because thou art found wisest, and thou shalt sit next to me, and shalt be called my cousin. So Zerubbabel had won this contest, and he was known as the king's cousin. In other words, someone that's close to the king. So the king took great favor upon Zerubbabel. All right. So that just right there is an example of how truth prevaileth over all. Okay. It says that right there shows you that wisdom is profitable to direct. That shows you wisdom is a defense and money is a defense. But the excellency of knowledge is that wisdom giveth life unto him that have it. And that's an example. It says, when you go back to that 41st verse, it says, and with that he held his peace, and all the people then shouted and said, Great is the truth and mighty above all things. So the truth is great, and the truth is mighty above all things. It's more mighty than any man, more mighty than any woman, more mighty than anything. It's the mightiest of all things. Okay? Going down, it says, Then said he unto the king, verse 43, This he unto the king, Remember thy vow which thou hast vowed to build Jerusalem in the day when thou camest to thy kingdom. You see that right there? That shows you that wisdom is defense. Because Zerubbabel had that wisdom to say that truth has the victory over all, and that truth is strongest over all, he told the king, now remember what you said about rebuilding Jerusalem now. That was all due to what? Wisdom. It says, Then said he unto the king, Remember thy vow which thou hast vowed to build Jerusalem in the day when thou camest to thy kingdom, and to send away all the vessels that were taken out of Jerusalem, which Cyrus set apart, when he vowed to destroy Babylon and to send them again thither. Going back to the time with the Persians and the Babylonians, thou also hast vowed to build up the temple, which the Edomites burned when Judea was made desolate by the Chaldees, talking about the Babylonians. You can read about that in the book of Psalms 137, where they said, race it, even to the foundation thereof. Race it meaning erase it or burn it, destroy it, even to the foundation thereof, the whole entire city. And now, O Lord the King, that this is that which I require and which I desire of thee. This is the princely liberality proceeding from myself. I desire therefore that thou make good the vow, the performance whereof with thine own mouth thou hast vowed to the King of heaven. Then Darius the king stood up and kissed him, and wrote letters for him unto all. And it said he kissed him. I don't mean he kissed him on his lips, right? Which doesn't tell you where, but obviously Zerubbabel, being an Israelite, was no damn homosexual. So we didn't even gotta go into specifics there. We just didn't have to go no further than that. So we know nothing homosexual occurred there. It says, I desire therefore that thou make good the vow. I read that part already. Verse 47. Then Darius the king stood up and kissed him, and wrote letters for him unto all the treasurers and lieutenants and captains and governors, that they should safely convey on their way both him and all those that go with him to build Jerusalem. He wrote letters also unto the lieutenants that were in Cilicia and Phoenicia, and unto them in Libanus, that they should bring cedar wood from Libanus unto Jerusalem, and that they should build the city with him. Moreover, he wrote for all the Jews that went out of his realm up into Jewry, concerning their freedom, that no officer, no ruler, no lieutenant, nor treasurer should forcibly enter into their doors, and that all the country which they hold should be free without tribute, and that the Edomites should give over the villages of the Jews which then they held. Yea, that there should be yearly given 20 talents to the building of the temple until the time that it was built. You can read about this in the book of Ezra. Okay? Read about this in the book of Ezra. I believe the book of Haggai as well. It says, and over 10 talents yearly to maintain the burnt offerings upon the altar every day, and that they had a commandment to offer 17. And that all they that went from Babylon to build the city should have free liberty, as well they as their posterity, and all the priests that went away. Alright, there's a lot of stuff here. I'm gonna jump down a little bit to jump down to verse 62. And they praised the Most High, their father, the power of their fathers, Yahweh Shemel Shah, because he had given them liberty, freedom and liberty to go up and to build Jerusalem in the temple which is called by his name. And they feasted with instruments of music and glad in 7 days. I want to give one more scripture. Ecclesiastes 9:14. There was a little city and few men within it, and there came a great king against it, and besieged it and built great bulwarks against it. So this city was sieged, it was surrounded by an enemy. And there was found in it a poor wise man, and he by wisdom delivered the city. This is a complete example of that, what we just read in the book of 2nd Esdras. Alright? That was an example of that. How by Zerubbabel's wisdom, the king put forth a decree to have the city built back up, and have those things that were stolen from them returned. Check that out. That there was found in a poor wise man, and he by his wisdom delivered the city. Yet no man remembered that same poor man. Yet no man remembered that same poor man, because Zerubbabel ain't somebody that's really remembered today. In this world, they don't honor Zerubbabel. That's why when you go to the book of Ecclesiastes, Sirach, it says what? Let us praise the famous men. Zerubbabel is one of those men. And it reminds you of that scripture in the Ecclesiastes where it says, a good name is better than the precious ointment. Okay? It says a good name is better than the precious ointment. Why is that? Because a precious ointment lingers for a period of time that eventually it fades away, like a perfume or like a cologne. But a good name never fades away. Like Zerubbabel, even though the world may not honor him, we still honor him and remember him to this day. He was a man of the Lord. And it says, then said I, wisdom is better than strength. Nevertheless, the poor man's wisdom is despised and his words are not heard. So generally, the poor man's wisdom is despised and words are not held. But wisdom is better than strength. See? That's why I could tell you, wisdom is profitable to direct. If you have an iron, if the iron be blunt, then you must put forth more strength. You got to put forth more strength to cut with that blunt blade. But wisdom is profitable to direct. If it says if the iron be blunt and you do not wet it, mean you do not sharpen it, then it takes more strength. You must put forth more strength. So you have a blade that's blunt, a blunt blade. You gotta sharpen it. But if you don't sharpen it, you gotta put forth more strength to cut. But wisdom is profitable to direct. It's profitable to give you the proper instruction to be able to sharpen that blade, to be able to cut precisely and with ease. So wisdom does direct. So with that, I'm gonna close. I'm gonna say, oh praise Yahweh Shem Yahshua, double honors to the Apostle GMS, and they were just about wisdom that allowed the wisdom of Yahweh Shem Yahshua that allowed that to occur. So with that, I'm gonna close. I'm gonna say, oh praise Yahweh Shem Yahshua, double honors to the Apostle GMS. Till next time, Shalom.